time is a phenomenon that's beyond the human mind to grasp. The human mind is constructed by time. The human mind is a product of time. And so how can it reach beyond itself? And yet, somehow we are challenged by the concept of time, because we have messages coming to us from the grave of previous generations trying to inform us about the nature of our existence. And so how can we relate to this message if we cannot relate to time? How do we know how to interpret? And we see the different outcomes throughout time from these same messages as different generations try to interpret the meaning of those messages in our religion, in other religions. Totally different lifestyles, different behaviors, different beliefs, different understandings, all saying, oh, this is the tradition, this is what we received. Is it now? Or did we receive the words and then the hearts did with those words what the hearts were designed to do? Which words were emphasized? Which words were repeated often? On what dimension are these words being directed? Is there any allegorical value to what's being said, or does it just mean the literal translation of the words? This will result in entirely different humans, in entirely different cultures and behaviors. The emphasis of where we see the will of the divine is what's going to directly instruct our bodies on which organs to develop, which sensitivities. This is not something that can be transmitted in words. This is only to be transmitted in a live soul. The sages would laugh at one who stands up for a Sefer Torah and doesn't stand up for a wise man, because don't you get the point? Don't you understand why we are giving all this glory to a piece of parchment? It's not for some other cause or other purpose. It's about our purpose. But what are we trying to say? We are trying to say that the message gives life to the soul. And so if the message has managed to enliven the soul, that soul is the purpose of the message. If not for that soul, put away the parchment, there's no point. And so they would laugh. Don't you get it? Don't you understand what we're really doing? Well, that's idol worship. Because if it's the parchment could mean anything. If there isn't a reality, if there isn't a soul that we say, oh, this is the soul, this is the understanding, this is the way, then it can mean anything, depending on the heart that's interpreting. When is it a question? When is it an answer? How do we sing it? When do we get excited? When do we say, oh, this seems logical to me? And when do we say, what? The child picks up on the nuances. This is how he becomes indoctrinated into the culture. But is this the meaning of what is being said? Is there a soul that is alive based on those words that says, if you will drink it this way, you will come to life? Has the words, which are idols, which are a samamaves, a poison to the soul, have they turned into a Chaim? Have they become a potion of life within that soul? If not, be careful, it's poison. It killed him and it will kill anyone else that he teaches it. And so when Klal Yisrael was in Mitzrayim also had nice words. But the meaning of the words at the end of the day brought to, you souls are going to be enslaved to you souls. not to the will, to the design, not to what's driving the soul from within. But there is someone that's going to sit on top. You are being indoctrinated into believing that this man, for him, this is all happening, not for you. This is idol worship. You might have a relationship with a big man, and for that big man, you can do a service, but you are here for you. If that big man is teaching that you are here for him, that's idol worship. Your nature represents your God. No other human being can represent your God. Your God means the one who gets to interpret what you're supposed to be doing here. That's your God. And that cannot be anyone other than something inside of you, because that is your relationship with the eternal. A teacher can teach you how to do that. Someone who is wise will know to help and direct you how to not get into conflict with God. But your conflict would be with God and not with that person. Anything that tries to represent God and isn't God is dead and is killing everyone that is following it. This was the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh represents the backside of the neck. The backside of the neck is the side of the neck that is just there for structure. It cannot speak. It cannot express. Moshe represents the throat, the place where the voice gets expressed. The explanation of what is living within that wants to reveal itself. The Pharaoh is dead. He always was dead and he always will be dead, because the thing that lives inside him is not revealing itself. Therefore he enslaves. He is simply copying his own nature. Moshe reveals the divine life and therefore he liberates. He's just copying his nature. That's all we can ever do. How do we know who is living within? How do we know what is animating Pharaoh and what is animating Moshe? We see how they try to duplicate themselves. That's who they are. Pharaoh is bringing slavery. Moshe is bringing liberation, cherus. When Moshe goes for 40 days and he leaves the liberated people to their own devices, those who were trained by Pharaoh return to enslave. And then we have the golden calf, enslavement. The revelation of that enslavement was they weren't yet attached to the infinite. They didn't feel safe with reality itself. They were still somehow connected to the form, which was Moshe. No Moshe, so what? Life still is happening the same way. You were free. What are you doing? No, they were afraid. They were looking for something to bow down to, something to worship. This is the nature of a human being. He is afraid of pain. He doesn't know the answer how to avoid pain. He will follow someone else. Maybe that one will know how to avoid pain. That one is also in pain. He will follow. Oh, he will know how I will stop having pain. We give away our power. We are desperately looking where to give away our power, instead of saying, I'm going to figure out. I'm going to understand. He gave me life. I'm going to take it upon myself to know. If someone has answers, by all means, let them give it to me. And since then, we are in this predicament. This is not a new predicament. 40 days we were outside of that predicament, and since then, for 3,500 years, we are in that predicament. That's why after the Egel it says, B'yoim pogdi ufekaliti. Every time you're suffering, know that you are suffering for one reason. Because your forefathers couldn't stay with a clear mind. They got too afraid and intimidated. That's why. The leader wasn't there. So what? When the leader is there, does that change anything? Isn't it the same one that makes it? He understands it better. So what? Why are you going now and searching for what to bow to? Why are you giving away your power? This is to blame. That is to blame. This is your body, your biology. Why is there a problem? You have a problem. The world is messy, of course. So we have to learn how to not become messy inside. This will take practice. This will take development. But if I'm going to bow to something else, I'm never going to have my relationship with the source. The source is jealous. I invested all this. I created everything that is. I give you the power and you give it all away. The human body is the most complex piece of matter that we could ever come across in all the galaxies. Stars are simple. Stars are accumulations of the same energy. A human body is a combination of many energies. And together it can think, and together it can feel, and together it can understand. This is the most sophisticated piece of equipment that we can ever encounter in any place. And we say, oh no, it cannot know. He knows. This was designed to run itself. This is the intelligence. It's supposed to know for itself. If he knows, he must tell you. If it can only say what it says in a book, he's not alive. Life is not in a book. A book is supposed to help understand life. A book can never contradict life. Life is the will of the designer himself. The book is here to explain. Any book can only explain. It can never contradict. If it contradicts, either we haven't understood the book or the book is wrong. He expects this from us. We've been pacified because the other nations are being even stupider than us. And so we think, we question sometimes. This was meant to be understood. Our forefathers understood. They knew why it is the way that it is and what they're supposed to do with it. And so this revelation is a revelation of heart. It's a revelation of the essence that says, me, it's me, don't you understand? When we leave the body, we are all surprised to know who that me is. Because the one I'm talking to now, he's the one, he goes with you. It doesn't end. He said, oh, it was you? Yes, it was me, the whole time it was me. Who else would it have been? Now he's in a body, now he's outside of a body. Now he's creating, now he's creation. Who else is there? When was there anyone else to mix into the mix over here? There never was anyone, there was just one. And that one became and became and became, and he's still becoming. And so what are we going to find out? That there's only one, there only ever was one. He is the one. And we were meant to cooperate somehow with him. And we got very, very confused. That's the revelation of Anochi. That's what it means when he says, it's me in all of you. This is why it says, by Har Sinai, every Jew said, Anochi. He realized everything was open. This is why they couldn't contain the soul within the body. This was very intense. There was nothing else. There was nothing else. I was just imagining. The Egyptian made me suffer, and my mind was so busy with the Egyptian that I couldn't see life for what it is. Chazal say when it says Anochi, Anochi stands for Ano nafshi kozvis yehovis. I'm giving you my soul. I'm writing down my soul and I'm giving it to you. It's not then that he gives us the soul. We already have it. It's then that we realize whose soul we have. It's then that we realize how important it is that we know how to not hurt ourselves. Not on any level. Spiritual, very important. Emotional, also very important. If the emotional is hurt, the spiritual is getting hurt. There's no other way. If the physical is hurt, the emotional is going to get hurt also. And the spiritual. Everything is tied into everything. Today we are so lost. We've distanced ourselves from the concept of who we are to such a degree that any type of suffering is too much, and we start losing our capacity to love life. We start losing our capacity to be patient with the people that we love. We start losing the capacity to think clearly. And so anything that's going on in any of the levels is affecting all the levels. We have to learn how to stop suffering. And we can help each other stop suffering because we all have the power of speech. This is the exact same way we made each other suffer in the first place. We have the ability to go into another person's brain and connect some nerves or disconnect some nerves and move some things around. This is very consequential, especially when it's happening over many years or if it's happening early on in the life. One sentence can make an entire difference in the development of a brain for 70 years. Different areas have been emphasized, different areas have been disconnected. That experience is never going to be the same as a result. We have the power, but do we have the wisdom to know how to wield this power? This is what the revelation is all about. This is why when we leave Egypt, the land of imagination, we need 49 days to cleanse ourselves. We have to go through our attributes. We have to rectify our attributes. Wherever we saw over there was definitely offensive to our soul. And so certain parts, certain sensitivities are offline. If we proceed like this, we're not going to be aligned with reality. We're not yet done. Leaving Egypt is the first step. Rectifying our attributes is the next step before we can receive the wisdom that empowers us to be ourselves. If we haven't rectified our attributes, the world should be protected from us if we have the power to be ourselves. And so first, we've left Egypt. Oh, you see, it was an illusion. You see, it was all wrong. This behavior is unacceptable. Never should be accepted as normal. Doesn't matter how many people do it. It's not normal. It's offensive to the human heart. It's offensive to the human soul. It messes with the organs in ways that shouldn't happen. So what if 1 million people did it, and if they did it for 1 million years? Reality is more important. And so first, the attributes. The illusion has to be left, the lie, the beliefs have to be converted to truth, and then the attributes have to be aligned with reality. Am I acting because it seems to be good for the little me that I imagined, some little creature that is out to try to survive in the world? Or do I realize that I represent the big me? I am the world. I am one finger of a hand that has 8 billion fingers. And so, if based on that me I am acting, then my attributes will be aligned. If it's based on the little me, my attributes are certainly not aligned. There is no such a creature. My organs will not inform me about my impact on the environment if I don't identify as part of the environment. And then whoever is not identified with the environment is a threat to the environment. What else could he be? He's just trying to survive. He has total disregard to what happens around him. He doesn't realize that that's part of him. He doesn't realize that this is a dance that he is doing that has greater significance. His impact on the collective is all that he really is, not what he's imagining himself to be or to do. Everything that stays from the being is the impact that it had on the collective. The individual disappears, as we know. We bury the bodies. We have evidence that the individuals disappear. But the collective remains, and the impact of the individual on the collective remains. This collective is the Anoichi. He is the one that said, see, there's no one else. What were you thinking to yourself? There never was, there never will be, and there never could be. And he dressed up in this form. And this form has many different settings that bring out his will. Each one gets their own settings. These settings relate to the Zodiac. The Zodiac has 12 different signs, 12 different personalities of the Zodiac that together decide what will happen in the Zodiac. 12 different personalities within each individual. And so Yisro has 12 sons, each one representing a personality that is part of the collective personality. The Creator doesn't have a personality, but the world that He created has a personality, and it's run by the 12 signs, by the Zodiac signs. And so when a person is born, according to the personality of the Zodiac, comes out a little personality. An individual that has the organs and the limbs in the exact same balance as the universe had in that moment. The clock of the cosmos is running, and each one is born with a different balance between the signs, between the different animations of the personality that animates the body. And so the revelation comes to each one according to their dress. Each one has their own dress, within which the personality of the collective is going to dress up and reveal itself from that aspect in that individual. This is why the tribes had different cultures. These weren't cultures because they were trying to worship something outside of themselves. They were cultures that were based on the insides of themselves. Therefore, they had to be different for each tribe. It was a revelation of some type of a soul that dwells in a specific type of heart with a specific type of balance between the organs. And what comes before what? And what's more important than what? All playing with the same forces, but which forces come before the other forces, the permutation of the letters within that individual soul. And so we have each month a different permutation of letters to call the name. The name of being is dressed differently in each month. And these are the 12 permutations of the holy name. And these permutations represent organs, human personalities that are a result of cosmic personalities. They are a result of zodiac signs, a collection of stars. Trillions upon trillions of stars together, vibrating B'Tselem Elohim in human form. They're vibrating us into existence, physically. And yet our intelligence comes from somewhere beyond them. They were designed by intelligence. This is what we have, that they don't. The collection of all the particles, so together we are in human form. They're not in human form. They are a portion of human form. They cannot perceive the Creator. They need to ask us what the Creator is up to. We're at the cutting edge. This is where it happens. This is the result of the entire process. And here, in bodily form, is the most important and consequential part of the entire process. The soul has a long process, but here she plants the seeds. Here she creates the relationships with the attributes that are going to guide her through her journey. And so this revelation is what we celebrate, because this revelation is the soul of all the writings, of all the words, of all the letters. Never can they contradict the source they come from. Always are they there to reveal His glory. And if they're not revealing His glory, they are poisonous. Be careful. It's not because the words are poisonous, it's because the human being that's repeating it has been poisoned. And so we look forward to this revelation. The Ramban says, "V'hoya einenu v'libeinu sham kol hayomim." Our eyes and our hearts should always be there at that revelation, so that we can try to interpret the words, try to interpret the circumstances, try to interpret the emotions from that context. Because no other context is real. Any context that comes after the golden calf is poisonous. It's not an accurate context. The truth can't be sold twice. After the first one was shattered, we couldn't tell another truth. There's only one truth. But we said, if the truth cannot be carried, then we will make up a lie that can eventually reveal the truth. They couldn't any longer carry the life force itself. They couldn't any longer have the trust of their hearts. But now they needed instruction on how they are going to limit the offense of the heart. And so liberation comes when the truth is revealed. And this is the nature of the revelation that our forefathers experienced directly, and we are waiting for every day. This is why we know it's going to happen. It's because the truth will be. The one who has invested all this in order to get to this point is not suddenly going to give up now. The truth will be. It's only a matter of which generation will gain access to that truth. Which individual will gain access to that truth. So may we all have the merit to participate in that truth. And may the collective be liberated in the nearest future possible.